Hi, London. So hopefully by now you all have seen some of the features that we launched last week to enable more efficient vector editing and more visual expression in Figma.
I'm going to try not to get emotional up here, but truly this has been such a labor of love between Lauren and I and our greater Draw team. I mean, like so many Maker Weeks, years ago, we built stuff like this just trying to bring visual expression, more grit, more texture into Figma. On my own, I've created my own plugin called Noise and Texture to do this very thing, just to try to help. Yeah, all right, thank you. All right, didn't expect that. I mean, this is all with the hope to make Figma give us more tools to express more cool shit in Figma. And Lauren, you built text on a path, you built variable width stroke, and so many more things.
Yeah, and with the way design tools are evolving, we realized it's time to really raise the ceiling on what you can do in Figma. So we're gonna walk through a couple examples of some more things that you can do in just a few of our favorite features in Figma Draw. Let's do it.
All right, let's go. We appreciate that. All right, you've had your coffee this morning. Amazing. All right, first up, we're gonna start with this lowly, simple circle. And we're gonna do something really cool. We're gonna first switch into draw mode. And in draw mode, we're gonna have a different interface. And we're gonna add a texture effect. And I wanna zoom in a little bit closer here and show you that it adds a little bit of texture, a little bit of grit. We're getting away from that flat style all the time, and we can have more expressiveness here. Now with texture, let's go ahead and ramp it up a little bit. We can get more of a roughness to it. We can also blow out the radius, and guess what? It's what you all were hoping for, a grainy gradient. But we can also apply it to things like text. So I'll come down here, I've already added texture, and we can see we have a little bit of a gritty, rough text. And this is all live, so I can just type into this. Oh, we're gonna do this. Oh. Lauren told me to say that, I'm just trying to fit in with the locals over here. All right, now we see this flower illustration, and it's got texture effect already applied to it, but it's doing something that I don't really want it to do. It's actually kind of distorting it and exploding it, and I'm losing some definition in the shape of the object. So I'm just gonna go to texture and go right here, and this is why we created clip to shape. Keep those clean edges, but create gradation over the inside that's textured. Now this one's actually pretty fun because I was working on this illustration last week. I love snakes, and I wanted to create some highlight and sheen to the snake's body. Now, if I just simply come over here, it's just a vector line, and I turn on texture, this was such a mind-blowing moment to me. Like, I can just do this with one click, and let's add it here. And once again, now that snake is looking fully shaded. Now we'll talk a little bit about progressive blur. Let's go ahead and fire up a prototype here. You may recognize some names here. Now with progressive blur, we want to be able to use it in such a way to make the text in this card stand out a little bit more. Because sometimes these images are UGC and we actually don't know what they'll be, but they might get a little bit more complicated. So we're going to simply do that. We're going to come in to a layer and we're going to add a background blur. Now this is the old style of blur that we have, still useful, but it's not doing what we want it to do. I don't want to blur out Charlie. So I want to come on in here, use a progressive blur, and then adjust the start point right here. And now you can see we get exactly what I wanted. That text is a little easier to read on that card. And then also, when I scroll through this prototype, maybe I can click here, and we can see that I actually brought up an action sheet with some more progressive blur on it. Let's blur the world, baby. All right. All right, and lastly, I want to show off repeaters, and then I'm going to hand off to Lauren. So we've got this really rad graphic here created by Kodo Studio, and we have all these radially repeated things. And what I want to do is take this pint, which hopefully I'll be having many of tonight, and I'm going to go ahead and add a repeater to it. And this will repeat it radially. You can do linear as well. I'm going to put it in 9, and I'm just going to slide this thing. And I love how playful this is. I can just feel and vibe out, yeah, that looks really good. And we'll start again with another circle, but this time I sort of maximalized the design. I've added gradients and layer blurs and progressive blurs and strokes and blend modes. I've added it all. But I'm going to turn on my repeater. And you can see all of a sudden, this helps me to explore really visually rich things very quickly. And if you don't believe me, let's mess around with this border radius a little bit. And let's just spin this thing. So fun, so playful. Next up, we're going on to Lauren.
Cool. Okay, so I'm going to work on this graphic that the brand team is working on, and it's a little bit kind of unfinished right now. And you can see we've added a pattern fill already, but I'm going to add another pattern fill. So I'll add another pattern paint and choose from the canvas. I like this one. And now I can just change the values here. I'll make this fully opaque and make this like a hexagonal pattern, and I can sort of change the sizes here and change the spacing, something like that, maybe something like this. And now this is looking like a really cool pattern. I might also now want to add some kind of noise. And you think of noise as sort of like this traditional noise, but I actually love that I can make this sort of terrazzo feeling noise. And so I'll make this fully opaque, white, large noise, and reduce the density, and something like that I think looks really cool. And then I can also add some texture to this because we love it. So something like this. And now it's looking sort of a lot more like sort of fun brand graphic. Okay, next I'm going to move on to these dinosaurs that Koto has been working on. And I really love these. I want them to feel a little bit more hand-drawn, so I might select all of these and add a dynamic stroke. And you can see now they all sort of have this like wiggly stroke that's really fun. And I can go ahead to my dynamic stroke settings and change like the frequency and the wiggle values here. And actually, I think that looks a little bit too sort of wobbly, so I might try a brush stroke instead. And I can sort of scroll through all these and see all the different brush options. And so maybe I'll pick something like this one. And now these have this really nice sort of hand-drawn feel. And then I'll go over here and give them a flower because then they won't eat us. And I might realize that actually like none of the brushes are the exact aesthetic that I'm looking for here. So I can create my own brush too. So maybe we'll just make this like sort of squiggle and then right-click, create a stretch brush. And now I can go to this petal and use my new brush here. And so you can see now it sort of looks scribbly like I wanted, and then I'll add a radial repeater. Oops, that was supposed to be on the group. Add a radial repeater, and now it is a flower. And finally, I'm going to work on these social media assets that we're working on for the Friends of Figma group. And this is looking pretty good. You can see it actually already has some pattern fills and some texture effects and some terrazzo noise. The one thing I think I need is some text on a path. So I'm going to select this path, which is also using a texture, and I can insert this text here and sort of spin it around as I need to. And I have text on a path. Woo.